Well, it's what it's all about. It's fall, opening of bow season. Got me a nice buck. Want to welcome you to Whitetail's Eye to Eye, because that's where it's at. We're going to be right eye to eye to whitetail bucks in this video. What we're dealing with is ground hunting techniques on whitetail bucks. For you people that's only hunted tree stands, we hope it opens a whole new world to you. Because I tell you, from the ground, it's great, it's exciting, and many times ground hunting can be much more effective than tree stand hunting. Many times tree stand hunting more than, the ground hunting. But anyway, there's a lot of you that never tried ground hunting, and any of the techniques, well, 90% of the techniques in this video you can use from tree stand or the ground. But there's a lot of advantages to the ground hunting, and we hope to show you a few. And the best thing, you're on eye level with the buck. And you don't think that'll get your blood boiling, try it sometime. So anyway, sit back, enjoy the video, hope you learn a little bit, and most of all, have a good time with it. You can see him, he's just feeding up through the timber. Okay, the buck went over the hill. What he's doing, he's coming up out of this clear cut and he's going across. And I'd say he can go on the other side. What we're going to do is get up and move around the winds, right? If we hurry, we can get around this side over here and maybe intercept him before he goes down into the creek bottoms. I don't think as hot as it's supposed to get today, he'll be laying out there all day. Let's try to get around on him before it gets too light. Okay, what I'm gonna do, this is the only funnel that I see on this side of the clear cut. And we saw that buck coming out of the upper edge of it, so he ought to be moving down through. I'm gonna sit up right here. If I get a shot, it's gonna be 10 or 15 yards. But I think, knowing the topography of the land, and this being just a natural funnel, they can't go through this stuff. They don't want to. They're just gonna go right off the side of the hill, and there are trails through here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get set up.
With weather conditions so dry, Alan realizes he has little chance to stalk to within range of the buck. In these circumstances, he knows the only chance for a shot is to get ahead of the deer and intercept it. Alan waits for the deer to position itself away from the cameraman for a clean, safe shot.
Thought he was going to run over you there. I saw him coming out of the clear cut, and I feared he'd come right down this crease because that's the only open area coming in from the hardwoods. And I didn't know exactly how he would come for sure, but boy, it worked. Whew. Well, it shows you being on the ground and being mobile can really help out sometimes. We'll give him a few minutes. I saw him head up the hill, so. Well, let's look around here. See, right there's my arrow. Oh. Clean through him. I had to shoot the deer at a pretty steep angle. Well, it wasn't real steep. He was quartering away. I had to hit him in and back of the ribs to get it to come out behind the shoulder at the angle he was standing. To me, that's the best shot you can take, is a quartering shot. You get much longer cuts in the lungs. Maybe a little vivid, but that's what happens. You get a much longer slicing effect in there, cuts more arteries, more veins, quicker kill. I don't think the buck went very far. I'll be surprised if he's over 80 to 100 yards. But again, we've given him about 20 minutes now. We'll go find him here in a minute. One thing I was doing, this may sound a little gross to some people, but I was smelling the arrow. That particular deer I didn't worry about. You know, the hit. I know it was a very good hit. I'm glad of it. You can notice on this arrow, it's all pretty bright colored blood of the length of the arrow. Like I said, it passed through. But if you see sometime, you know, dark matter on your arrow, if you can smell it and smell, it's a pretty vile smell. There's a good chance you grass bagged them or hit farther back in the intestines and stomach. At that angle, I almost expected to, but I didn't. Just laid it right in front of the stomach. But if you can smell that, and it's at a shot that's straight through the deer, it's a good idea to wait 3 to 4 hours, because it can take longer to kill an animal like that. But I had a real good shot. My arrow has no smell at all, so it's about time to go find the deer. Some blood. Let's cross this log. Whoa! There he is, though. Right up there. See see his horn sticking up. Ah, nice deer. Ah, right in the clear cut. Man, that's nice. That's where the arrow went in. I shot him at an angle. Let's see here. Boy, he's a big deer. Ah, right there's where he came out. It's a quartering shot. Boy, that's great. Man, look here at that thing. He's a big old deer. And I've been out of velvet real long time. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, as close as he was, I didn't even look to see.
While hunting the edge of a thicket between a hardwood flat and a cornfield, Alan spotted this crooked-horned buck moving just beyond safe shooting range. Realizing that the deer wouldn't leave the safety of the thicket, Alan decided to move out the ridge to try and intercept it, just as he had done on the buck in the clear cut.
I tell you what, he's moved down and he's moved up into this thicket. It runs about 400 or 500 yards. What we're going to do is move up along this ridge, come in on the other end, either get him coming out of the other end, or we'll try to get up above him a little. He's just speeding out that old logging road down there. But what we'll do, we'll get out there and try to intercept him. Maybe we can catch him, get a shot at him. It beats sitting around here. The wind's right and everything else. That's one big advantage about hunting the ground versus a tree stand. You've got the option of moving and moving in a hurry and not making that much noise. So let's go on out through here. Okay, we're going to drop off right here. I'm going to leave my backpack up here. It'll make it a little easier to move through that brush. We'll move down into the thicket here. The deer ought to come up through here.
Shortly after Alan positioned himself in the thicket, the deer moved in and bedded 30 yards from him.
Okay, I see the deer. He's laid down right over here. He just laid down about 25 to 30 yards out here. If we can move over about 3 feet, we can get a shot at him. Got it.
The arrow entered at the back of the chest and angled forward through the lungs.
Let's walk out here. Man, that sucker came right in and laid down there before I saw what was going on. That was neat. We'll give him about 10 minutes and we'll go. Well, no. I had to shoot that deer at a pretty steep angle. That's why there's so much hair laying here. I guess it really cut in, but I shot like going right along his back hem, following the line of it where it goes into the ribs. And at the angle, it should have gone right up in the back of the ribs and up through the heart. And he was hit. I heard him go down. He's hit hard. I could see the air out of him. But look at all the hair. But he's hit. I gave him 30 minutes. I'm sure of the hit, but again, I like to wait a little bit on him. Let's go after him and see if we can find him. He came right through here. It's real important to watch the way a deer runs after it's hit. Okay, here's blood. Ah, look here. Right there's where he's come through. Right, look here where he's jumped the log and come down on this side. But this is what's remarkable. Look here. He's jumped this log. I mean, that's a 3.5 foot. He's come off the ground. Well, let's go find him. We've gone about 50 yards, but he's bleeding good. There he is. Oh, that's a pretty nice buck. Well, I enjoy that, folks. Look here. Huh. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's pretty nice there. That's weird, that little horn. Probably gotten it injured. Big-bodied deer, too. That's probably an old deer that's gone downhill. You know, I'd say it's an older buck. That's pretty big. He's pretty good size now. Well, to start off a cold, wet, rainy morning, it's turned out to be a beautiful day, and for more than one reason. Let me tell you what happened to us this morning, and then we'll go from there. We started out real early working away along this clear cut, and I looked up, 150 yards from me was glassing. By the way, I lost my binoculars, but anyway, and I saw a bulldozer sitting up on the hill and a brush pile between me and the bulldozer. Well, when I got to looking in the brush pile, I saw something move. It said deer horns, a big set of deer horns. Well, anyway, we proceeded to get into position real quick to try to make a stalk. Everything was right. It was raining. The wind was blowing hard as this front was moving out, which it's gone now. And, you know, the footing was wet, pretty good. I had to make a few modifications, but it worked pretty good. Well, anyway, what happened, well, I'll tell you, we'll let you watch what happened. But notice I only got 3 arrows left in my quiver.
Alan spotted the bedded deer early in the morning. It had bedded in a typical fashion for an old and wise buck, on high ground with brush and wind to his back, cautiously watching downwind. A small rise and some brush obscured the deer's sight at one point on the downwind side. This would be the hunter's approach route.
We're about 80 yards from that buck. We don't have very much cover, but I'm going to try to slip right through here under the hill. If I can get up to that brush pile, I'll have a good 25, 35 yard shot. The wind's hit me right in the face, so we're in pretty good shape. It's just going to take a long time to get to him. Let's go ahead.
If conditions are right, the hunter has a chance to stalk within range of a deer, but it requires a great deal of patience and planning. When stalking, each step must be carefully placed. One false move can cost you a deer. Alan watched the buck for any sign of its being alerted. From this angle, Alan had no shot into the vitals, so he decided to reposition and close the distance.
Okay, I'm gonna slip around to the side of him and see if I can get a shot into him.
Moving to within 25 yards, he prepared to shoot.
Well, oh man. Muddy feet and all. Oh man. That took about 40 years off me, folks. Oh. It's taken us about 2 hours to get around on that deer. And it's taken me about an hour of that to move the last 30 yards on him. Oh, that was great. I tell you what. Man, I could shoot. I had about that big a hole to shoot through. When I drew my bow back, I saw him turn his head in my direction. I don't know if he heard me or not, but I had a hole through that brush about this big. And so he's looking at me like this. I said, well, now or never. Boom, I ran it through him. I hit him right down into the vitals. I don't like taking that kind of shot a lot of times. Well, it's not the best angle, but I was about 22 yards from that buck, and I could hold that pin steady on. I knew I could go right down through. Again, I'm shooting 90 pounds, heavy arrows, strong broadheads, no problem. Yeah, I ran it right down through the center. But let's go see if we can find him. Ow! First of all, I think I'll go down here and get my boots. So. Whoa. Boy, that mud is cold. Oh, no wonder. I'm gonna have to call that deer the barefoot buck. Well, here's where it all started. Let's go find him. Oh, there's the blood right off the bat, though. There. It is splattered on the rock here. Here we go. Look here. And blood on dirt's harder to pick up. You can see the difference between like this rock and the dirt here. You know, and even a leaf, right here, like this leaf in the dirt. But the other advantage doing dirt like this, you can also pick up the tracks like this. And I can just follow the tracks here. Right through here. Come across the log. I'm going to have to thank the forestry people. You know, that tells you a lot about a white-tailed deer, too. He's bedding, 75 yards from this bulldozer. Now, that's pretty remarkable. This is just a typical thing for buck sanctuary. They will pick out the most unlikely spot in the world that a human would look for him, and I found a lot of the biggest bucks I've ever seen right like that. Here's blood. Here. There he is. Woo! Oh, gosh, so? Huh. Man, oh man. That's a lot bigger deer than I thought. God. Look at this. Oh, man. Look at that. That's sticker point. Jeez. Man, let's see. That's a big deer. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and he's broken one off right here. That's funny. The last 3 seasons, I've killed 13-point whitetail. I guess 13's my lucky number. And that, but when I shot him, he looked right at me, and you know, neat thing about it, me and him were right eye to eye. That's where it counts, you know. That's got to be one of the most exciting ways of taking a white-tailed deer there is. Looking him in the eye. Okay, what we're going to do this morning, we've still hunted up through here. The deer are coming out of these oak woods, and they're crossing right through here. It's a bottleneck. You can see right here, the trail's running through here. They're running this way. They're running across the hollow, back and forth through here. I'm going to set up right here in this little bottleneck and try to, what they're doing, the deer are up, they're eating on acorns and stuff, and they funnel down through here. And during the day, there's a creek just right here, over here, so they're coming down, getting a drink of water. And I like to hunt the thickets. And what we're going to do, I think I'm just going to set up right here, set me up a little blind, and sit here for a few hours until I'll sit here. It's just after the sun's just breaking. I'll sit here till about 11 o'clock.
Another method of ground hunting is still hunting, moving slowly through the woods, stopping often to look and listen. When still hunting, the hunter can take up a blind when he finds a good location, or begin a stalk if he spots a deer.
This will be a good spot. I'll be covered up. What I do places like this is just clear me out a quiet place to have some good footing. A place like this, you can get deer from any angle coming in on you too.
Later that morning, Alan spotted a buck moving into range.
He's down. He's down. God. Yeah. Right there's where he's kicked the dirt at. Guess the first thing I ought to do is try to find that arrow. There it is. Oh. That looks pretty good. Oh, shot through him. Now I'll pick up his trail. Right there's where he's come. Look at the bubbles here in this blood. Let me hold it here where you can see it. See here? That a lot of times is evidence of a good solid lung hit. All the blood's had that in it. Anyway, that's just something to keep in mind. Now let's look at my deer. Boy, he has bled out through here like crazy. Ah, 4-pointer. Huh. Let me drag him up here. Ah, isn't that beautiful? So y'all are going to hunt this ridge. You're going to be up here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to be here and here.
Jim's going to be down here?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be hunting right down here. Why don't you two guys, so you've got to leave out early?
Yeah, we're going to be leaving at about 5 o'clock. Jim's got to get back home.
Okay. Tell you what, why don't y'all kind of go diagonal? You move out ahead of him and just still hunt your way out this ridge, because there's a real heavy use trail that comes right off this little spur down through here. And I'm going to be hunting, like I said, right here in this flat area. And maybe you'll run something by me if you do that.
Yeah, we'll be coming just right down, right like this.
Okay.
In the Still Hunter's Drive, 2 or more hunters move slowly through the woods at an angle to guide the deer toward the third hunter's stand. By moving slowly, the deer is not spooked and will often walk right past a well-placed stand. Alan has chosen a narrow strip of timber between 2 larger woodlots for his stand.
Well, let's get her stuff and
Okay.
head on in.
See you this afternoon.
Okay.
Well, the hunters' plans came together. He's down. The arrow entered through the left shoulder, passing full length through the chest, and exited through the right hip. The buck was down within 30 seconds.
Okay, let's get on out here and find him. Right here's where he was standing when I shot him, about 20 yards. Oh, here's the arrow. Clean through. Looks like a real good hit. Let's see. Oh, there he is. Oh, that's great. 25, 30 yards. Ah, a nice 4-point. Huh. Yeah. Boy, that was nice. There's where the arrow went in. What a hole. I shot him right in. And come out all the way back, so it's cleaned house on him. Well, boy, isn't that super? Beautiful deer, isn't he?
We now join Alan just south of the Canadian border.
Oh. Well, this is what you call a blind. This is a permanent blind that we've used for, it's been used for several years off and on. Like I said, now what we're going to do, we're going to bait this area. Now, again, I got to say baiting is not legal in most states, several states. Several states there are. You know, Michigan in the north, for one. The Carolinas, parts of those are, North Carolina is legal, and several other states. Now, I've got a little bit different baiting technique, and this area doesn't have a lot of big bucks in it, but what we're going to do, it's got a lot of deer. There's a 2 deer limit in this area. So we're going to just hunt out of the blind and bait a little bit. Now, I like to use, for bait, I use shelled corn a lot. And I have some other type of feed in with it. The reason I like shelled corn, I can spread it around. By throwing it like this, it scatters the corn out in the grass. The deer have to pick for it, and they stay more preoccupied. That's a big reason. I do have several piles that I put out. I've already put out. I'm going to replenish them, and that's a good place. I'm going to go for about a 30-yard shot. And the other thing I do, I take some apples and put them in the area. What I'm doing with these apples, it's a scent that I'm going to use often to attract animals. There's, you know, this part of the country, there's a lot of apples. Deer like apples. You know, I've hunted them in Pennsylvania, under apple trees, around the orchards. I've hunted, every state I've hunted, I've just about been around apple orchards at one time or the other. What I'm going to do with these, I'll break them up in a few minutes. I'm going to place them high in a tree where the scent carries farther. Hopefully that'll attract the animals into this area more. What I'll do, first we'll go ahead and put some bait out. Like I said, plenty of bait, because deer can really keep them picked up. You know, I like to scatter, like I said, some here and there. The deer will get around and pick it. But I'm going to finish these piles up here, replenish them. I'm also going to put some right over as teasers, right at the edge of the brush. Not very much, just enough to give them a mouthful or two. They'll pick this up over here. Now I'm going to go ahead and I smash the apples up a little bit. Like I said, I use these more of a scent post to attract animals in with. Another thing these apples do will keep the deer, if they come into it, a lot of times they'll pick the apples first. It'll keep them moving around and looking for the apples. The pieces to the apple anyway. Something to remember, don't leave trash laying around when you're around your bait areas. Plastic bags can kill deer in a hurry. I was told this by a friend of mine that they had found one that was dying, and that's what was causing it. Let's go ahead and look at her blind, see what modifications we need to do. You need to check your blind. When you go into a blind like this in particular, you need to check it for bees. Now it's cold enough now we shouldn't have to worry about it, but if it's warm weather you have to worry about it. Get the blind set up where it's comfortable, everything's ready, so when you come in you can set up in it, be comfortable, and have a good time.
Good planning pays off. The first morning Alan hunted the blind, he found himself looking at a fat doe at 30 yards. As the morning progressed, other animals appeared.
There he goes. You see the bait. There he's down, he just fell.
Notice the deer's quick reaction to the shot.
Ah. That shows you baiting works. Oh man, that's great. Well, that goes to show you that blind hunting and baiting can really work well. I set up everything in a good way, and here it is, I don't know, 9 o'clock in the morning, we kill a nice buck. You know, the blind's 20 yards. I shot the deer for about 20, 22 yards. And the deer walked up beside of me in the blind. I could look over, and he was probably 3 yards from me when I first saw him. Then he circled around to the left and came in. Now that was super. Well, let's go over here and look at him. Looked like he's a nice 6-point. Oh, nice deer. Beautiful deer. Get him over in the sunlight so we can get a better look at him. Oh, he's a big-bodied deer too, isn't he? Look at that. Whew. Ran about 20 yards. Maybe 30. That's super. Nice 6-point. That deer will dress 140 pounds probably. See, live weight, he's, well, 130, 140. Live weight probably 160. Oh, that's great. Well, it's late October here, and a whole lot of rut signs starting to show up. A lot of rubs, and we have a lot of scrapes starting to develop. So evidently a lot of buck competition. I like hunting rub lines. I love to hunt scrapes, and there's a good chance this time of year calling a buck in. A couple of things I want to go over here before we start to hunt this afternoon. I get asked a lot of questions why I wear the same clothes all the time. Part of it's sentimental reasons, but there's a real big reason to it. I've either guided a lot of hunters that have had this happen to them, and I've personally had what I'm about to talk about happen to them, or to myself, is being cost a shot at a deer over the clothes I was wearing. These clothes are old, and I've used them for several years. It's an old flannel tree bark shirt I've got, but it's real quiet. And the big reason I like to use the thing is because I've worn it so much, I'm used to it. I don't have any surprises out of it. There's a lot of bow hunters that I take out with their brand new hunting equipment and all, and clothing, and they start to draw their bow back and shoot it, and it's the first time they've worn it. They can't do it. They can't shoot with it on. So, you know, my pants are the same way. They're pretty old. They're an old military issue. They're, you know, rough pants. I've worn them enough that they're brushed now. It's quieter moving through the brush. When I move down, they don't rub together like a new pair of blue jeans or something. But that's why I wear the old clothes. Like I said, there's no surprise in them. Any of your hunting clothes, you probably ought to get out and try wearing them before season comes in. I wear all of mine a lot. You know, I've hunted all morning. Something else I'm thinking about is my camo paint. I probably sweat a lot of it off this morning. I spent the evening. You know, just touch it up. Be ready. I like these little compacts. I got the mirror in them, and they really show up well. They'll help me see what I'm doing. You know, my old hat that I always wear, that's just sentimental reason. No other reason. Another thing you ought to think about, keeping your hands camoed. Your hands make more movement than anything else on your body when you're probably deer hunting, so be ready for it. You know, have them camoed up so the deer don't spot them moving. Just break the shine off them. You know, you try to set up where an animal's not going to see you and all, but you can't always do it. Just anything to break up the human image helps out. Another thing I think about is arm guard. A lot of the bow hunters I see don't wear arm guards. And with this sleeve out here, like this, there's a lot of material sticking out down here. That hole is worn in this sleeve from shooting a bow without an arm guard. And you know, if it's doing that, every time it's hit that, it's thrown the shot off. I usually don't wear an arm guard when I'm just practicing out during the summer and don't have on long sleeve baggy clothes, but I do this time of year. So an arm guard's helpful. Another thing a lot of bow hunters don't do that I see that I know it's imperative for me to do is shoot and practice in the field. It's just a judo point here, but it's a practice point. And what I use it for is just to be out in the field and take a few shots during the day. Not when you expect to see animals or when you're really hunting. Like here, midday, it's a good time to try it. And you know, I get out and take 5 or 6 shots, especially at the recurve. It helps keep your muscles loosened up and you can pull easier and you get a better release off everything. So I'm going to take a practice shot and head up in the woods. And what we're doing this afternoon, we're going to head up this spur on this ridge and just see what's going on it. I haven't been on it this year. I don't really know what's going on the ridge, but I want to see what's there. And maybe not for this evening's hunt, but later on, here in a week or two, I might be back in the area and hunting it again, or maybe find a lot of sign that I like and hunt tomorrow. This is one of those times I'm wearing a different shoe. I'm wearing a tennis shoe, a dark colored tennis shoe, but just because I want to be hoofing it this afternoon. I'm not wearing my heavy rubber bottom boots. Well, I'm going to take a practice shot and I see a clump of oak leaves up there and I'm heading on up into the woods. Right through them. See you later. Look here. Ever since we came out of the bottom down there heading up toward this little bench on the ridge, we found more and more horning the farther we go. How green it is. And the thing I like, it's over a rub from last year. See where the bark's healed? I look for that when I'm looking especially for a bigger buck. But anyway, that's fresh. There's more sign as we go. I'm going to follow this trail a little farther and we'll set up. You know, it's late October now and we're finding more and more sign. That's looking good. We're approaching where the peak of the rut in about 3 weeks. Right there's another rub. Big deer tracks. Here's a scrape. Look here. That's a real fresh rub too. Look at that. It's not even dried out. That's probably been within 2 or 3 hours. The scrape. It's still wet right here and there's a strong urine smell. Right out the hill here you can see more rubs. I see another scrape out here. I'm going to set up right here and rattle. There's a blown over oak tree right here. It kind of funnels them. I'm going to slip up to it. I'm going to start out with just some regular calling. Ah, 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 ah. Ah, ah, ah. All right. Wow. Whew. Man, oh man. Wow. Hey, can you see my arrow sticking in the tree down there? God. Look here. Look at this. Oh man. Ah, look at this, how deep it went in the tree. Now if I can get my arrow out of the tree. You know, that's probably the most satisfying shot with a bow I've ever made. I made this arrow myself. Oh, I got the shakes. I made the arrow. You know, I put full length feathers on it, fletch it myself, the whole works. Shooting a Howard Hill broadhead. Shooting a about 65, 66 pounds on my recurve. And shot the buck trotting. Now that's nice. That's all instinctive shooting. My recurve's my first love. It really is. Other than my wife and my little girl. Oh man, look at that. Right there he lays. Ah. Boy, he came right in. Oh man.
Alan had set up in the heart of the buck's territory. Hearing the fight, he came in to protect his scrape.
What a deer. Whoa. Ah, look at that. Isn't that pretty?
Let's watch how Alan took one of his nicest bucks from a ground blind in the early bow season down south.
Well, it's into a weekend season now, and up the ridge we have the oak flats, and there's been I like to hunt white oaks, but the deer before season we're using in there heavy, but hunting pressure has caused them to change. They've moved from bedding on the flats into moving down the ridges into this grown-up creek bottom. There's a lot of deer been coming through here. I just found this little spot, and this trail's great, a lot of tracks. So I think I'm gonna bushwhack one here, hopefully. Hunt it for a couple of days. I'm gonna build a little blind over here. Okay, I've broken these branches from an area away from where I'm gonna be hunting here. Let me show you a little trick I'm putting up when you break camouflage like this. Look at the difference between this with the white undersides, how that sticks out, versus this. Use the front side, the top of the leaf, the dark green, towards where you think the animal's going to come from. All I want to do is break up my silhouette here.
After a couple of days hunting,
The size of him, big bodied. Such beautiful animals.
with 2 successful seasons of ground hunting behind him now, Alan has some nice trophies and a freezer full of venison. More importantly, though, he has the cherished memories of the whitetail, eye to eye.